What is going on, YouTube? My name is Randy. You're watching the Randy Talks Mets channel. This is where it's your latest Mets news. Anything to know about the New York Mets, you get it on this channel. Let's get right into the topic of the video, and that is going to be the huge news of the Mets prospects, the top Mets prospects that have been promoted to AAA. Big news for the New York Mets prospects, and that has to do with 4 prospects, and that is number 30 in all of the MLB pipeline system, Jett Williams. That is a very, very impressive prospect that the Mets have, one of their top prospects. And then they got number 44 in the MLB pipeline. That is Jonah Tong, a starting pitcher, has been on fire. He's really, really good, really young as well. And then you got Carson, Benge, who has been probably one of the most impressive guys to come in this system in some time. And he only got drafted last year. Crazy. Number 20 on the MLB pipeline list. Truly, truly amazing what he has done in Double A so far. We're going to get into those stats a little bit. But, man, we got to get into the 8th Mets prospect, not the MLB pipeline prospect, but the MLB pipeline, as you know, MLB.com comes up with the top prospects, and it's called the top 100. Those guys are the in the top 100. These 3 guys right here, but not Ryan Clifford. Ryan Clifford is not in the top 100. He is the 8th Mets top prospect. So, I mean, this guy is a very, very impressive prospect as well. But we got to get into some news some stats when it comes to these guys, because, man, the future looks bright. The future looks bright for these kids. To me, I think when it comes to Jonah Tong, he has been very, very impressive. You don't know Jonah Tong. Jonah Tong is a very young kid. He is 8-5 right now in Double A. And with the promotion to Triple A is huge for this guy because he's a very, very young kid. 1.59 ERA in Double A has been very, very impressive. Has impressive movement. Has been getting comps to like Tim Lincecum, starting pitchers like that. He is looking like one of the best pitchers in the Mets system, and there's a reason why the MLB pipeline has this guy as number 44. Very, very impressive prospect when it comes to the New York Mets. And then you got Jett Williams. Jett Williams, who was drafted in the 2022 year. Mets overall pick. It was what was the overall pick? I think it was 14. Overall pick 14 in draft 2022 of the year. So this guy, to me, we're going to look at his stats here. 281 batting average, 10 home runs. So not a lot of power from Jett Williams, but he gives you that gap to gap. He gives you that speed. He gives you that stuff that you don't see in a guy like that has a lot of power. So to me, Jett Williams, 10 home runs. It's not the biggest power, obviously. I think he's going to get a little bit more home runs on the way. This is only 10 home runs in 352 at-bats. So there's more at-bats to have in the season. But, yes, he doesn't have a lot of power, but his speed is really, really fast. I think when it comes to Luis Angel Acuna, and Jett Williams might be faster than Luis Angel Acuna. And that is pretty crazy to say for a guy like that, Jett Williams. But this guy's a young kid. And overall, his OPS right now in Double A is 867. So a very, very impressive OPS, a very, very impressive season so far for this kid. And this is a guy that missed a lot of time last year, got the call up to Triple A, but he got injured and he missed a lot of time. So the Mets decided, well, he took it actually on himself to go to the Arizona Fall League and work on more things just because he missed a lot of time with an injury that he had last year. But this year, he's been healthy, he's been good, and he has been really, really impressive. And the fact that his ETA right now says 2025 is kind of surprising to me because I don't think he's going to make the team this year in 2025, but maybe 2026 he has a real chance of making the team with the New York Mets. We'll see what he does in AAA. All these guys are getting promoted to AAA, but he has been very, very impressive. And he's a guy that can play you shortstop. He's a guy that can play you second base and center field as well. So a versatile player in general. And I think this guy, he's a very, very impressive player. To me, the future looks bright for this kid, but I think he's going to be probably the Mets' second baseman when it comes to the future. So maybe either Beatty, Mauricio, Vientos, one of those guys will be third base, but Jett Williams, to me, is going to be your second baseman of the future. And we will see what he does. Obviously, these are just prospects. There's nothing guaranteed that these guys are going to do great in the MLB ball in the MLB team, but just in general, yeah. So overall, Carson Benge is another prospect that I said is very, very impressive. I mean, an average right now of 308. 308, man. Been very, very impressive. 12 home runs, 60 RBIs, 19 stolen bases, 926 OPS for Carson Benge. And he only got drafted last year. So you look at the difference between Jett Williams and Carson Benge right now. Carson Benge has been a fast riser in the system. I mean, just getting drafted last year and going to AAA, it's a crazy leap. And to me, is a young kid, but very, very impressive. And he was in the 2024. He just got drafted last year, and his pick overall was 19. So, I mean, when it comes to Carson Benge, this guy to me is going to be your center field of the future. His ETA right now says 2027. I think he's going to make the ball club probably later on in the year when it comes to 2026. So not to start the year, but I think he's going to make the team at some point. He's probably going to force his way. And the fact that he's number 20 in the MLB pipeline, very, very impressive. What a job Carson Benge has done. This guy, like I said, there's a reason why the Mets traded Drew Gilbert and felt they could have traded Drew Gilbert. And, hats off to Drew Gilbert. Hopefully he does well, whatever, in San Francisco. But to me, Carson Benge, he's the prospect that they are putting all their eggs in that basket when it comes to center field. And he's a really good center fielder. And, yeah, we'll see the Mets really, really need a center fielder of the future. And I think Carson Benge could be that guy. A lot of tools for Carson Benge. I mean, a 926 OPS, one of the hottest hitters in all of baseball in general in the minor leagues, has been very, very impressive. So, and then you got Ryan Clifford. And to me, Ryan Clifford is not a top 100 prospect, but he is a very impressive prospect just for his power. And the fact that he has 24 home runs and 367 at-bats, 24 home runs, 75 RBIs, an OPS of 848. He was drafted in 2022, so the same year as Jett Williams, but he was in the Houston Astros system. And the Mets got him and Drew Gilbert in that trade for Justin Verlander. So, obviously, in the trade with Justin Verlander. So, to me, Ryan Clifford is a guy that is going to be very important to this organization. I think he's going to be very important just because, first of all, his power is unstoppable, man. 24 home runs. He strikes out a lot as well, but the 24 home runs is very impressive for a young kid like that. And what I will say about this situation with Ryan Clifford, all these guys are going to AAA, but if Pete Alonso doesn't get signed back to the New York Mets, which I want the Mets to sign Pete Alonso back, but if it doesn't happen, Ryan Clifford is possibly going to be the replacement to Pete Alonso at first base, because that's what he plays, first base. So, to me, if you don't sign Pete Alonso back, this is a guy that is going to replace Pete Alonso. And I'm not saying replace him in the numbers, but he's going to be the next guy, because that's the best first baseman in their system. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with that kid. But the fact that he has 24 home runs and 367 at-bats, I mean, and the season is not over, he possibly could get to 30. Very, very impressive for the kid. So we'll see what happens with these guys. But, man, there's another note that I want to talk about is A.J. Ewing. He's the Mets' 7th prospect. So not top 100, but he's their 7th Mets prospect. He has been promoted to AA. So, I mean, the future looks bright for these kids. The future looks bright. I think, like I said, Jonah Tong is going to be a really good starting pitcher. I hope he's a really good starting pitcher, at least for the Mets. Just in general, I think he's going to be really special. His stuff looks good. Stuff looks amazing. He's been getting comps to Tim Lincecum. He's the best starting pitcher in their system right now. And he's so young. So, and then Carson Benge, he's a center fielder. He's going to be the center fielder of the future for the Mets. Hopefully he does great. But, man, I love talking about these prospects because it just gets me excited. And I know prospects aren't guaranteed, and none of that is guaranteed. And, you know, some of them could be traded. Who knows? But there's these guys right here that I'm talking about. I don't think they're going to trade them at all. I don't think the Mets are going to trade them. And you saw in the MLB in the trade deadline, there was talks about none of these kids in trades. The Mets, David Stearns, did not want to give up A.J. Ewing, who's a top prospect for the Mets. He did not want to give up Carson Benge. He did not want to give up Jett Williams. And he did not want to give up Jonah Tong. I don't know if anybody really asked about Ryan Clifford. But, man, it's crazy, man. But as you know, we love talking Mets baseball here. And if you enjoyed the video, man, do me a favor. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Have a good one. Let's go Mets!